All right, all right, all right. What's up, folks? We alive, we alive. Let's get into this interview, man. What a horrible goddamn interview. What a horrible interview. And I got to find out who was the guy conducting the interview. I don't think it was from my perspective. This is my own opinion. This is my perspective of what I felt about this interview. Thought this interview being done with a hip hop legend such as Jay Z himself was just conducted on the wrong platform, the wrong medium. Being GQ is for me is not a place for hip hop or the covering of hip hop culture. Culture in general. I think that's more of fashion, lifestyle, or whatever it is for GQ. I think GQ is fashion itself is high end stuff or whatever it is. But the interviewer, who probably seemed extremely excited, I think it got a little bit to him to be able to have a Jay Z interview, being there's not much content with Jay Z. Uh, this dude to me dropped the ball on this shit. This dude really dropped the ball on it. But I like a lot of what Jay Z corrected. Like Jay Z made a point about this dude, like speaking about like white folks allowing us and shit. And I was glad to hear Jay Z because I'm big on that kind of shit about people talking about what white folks allows. White folks can't allow us shit. It's about what you go out there and get. And I love that point with Jay Z and told that dude to get that shit out of his vocabulary. Just like I like to tell people to get certain shit out their fucking vocabulary as well. Oh, and then after I cover this Jay Z shit, I want to talk about the conversation I had with one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters. Can't wait to get in this conversation we had and this schooling that I gave to this dude. And this is an older dude. It's a white dude, probably in his 60s, mid 60s, super Trump supporter. No longer. But back into this one, man. So back into this interview with this guy. So this interview, I was trying to figure out if this dude was Jay-Z's nephew or some shit. I couldn't figure out who this dude was. It's like, what was that the reason why he was so giddy, so overcome with excitement and happy to get this? Because interview like this can propel his position over here at this company. Being they say he's a senior associate editor, so for him to be able to pull that, so he has a high position over within GQ, being a senior associate editor. I'm pretty sure that's a high position, and he'll be able to move up, especially if this interview does good numbers. And it's not for me to just get on here and want to just shit on this dude and be like he was just whack or anything like that. I just think he was overcome with excitement, but I just don't think for Jay-Z and what the fans of hip hop want, the fans of Jay-Z want, GQ magazine ain't it. GQ magazine just ain't the place for it. I think for an interview with Jay-Z coming back out the gate like this will probably be definitely somewhere like Drink Champs without him having to get drunk and all that other shit, staying away from maybe some of the controversy he probably doesn't want to deal with. And then again, it's like that's where most people I think will want to see Jay-Z is over on Drink Champs. But then with Drink Champs and the immaturity being that Jay-Z is more at a mature level with shit, that even Drink Champs may not even be the best place, but you need somebody that's part of the goddamn culture who is a little bit more mature within the from the aspects of podcasting and interviewing. That even maybe a Joe Budden. I don't even know his relationship with Joe Budden because I think there was something there between them. I don't know if there's a fallout between them. You may have to find somebody like that. You don't want to get nobody that plays in this egotistical shit. Joe Budden and Jadakiss is definitely not it. So it's really hard to find someone to conduct a thorough, high-achieving fucking interview with somebody like Jay-Z. I think the Jay-Z interview is much needed. But I like how Jay-Z corrected him on that shit about talking about what they allowed us to do. And then Jay-Z goes into this other thing where the guy asked a question about the behavior, like when people start to make money and the behavior after you make so much money that people begin to act a certain way. And Jay-Z was like, if the money doesn't change any of that shit. Just because you come across a lot of money doesn't mean it makes you to exhibit certain behaviors that you see in a lot of these folks who obtain a certain amount of wealth and then they crash out. That shit was always within that person, the personality of that person. Money doesn't make a motherfucking personality just change like that. That's that motherfucking. That's that motherfucking something within him. I like also the other shit he spoke about, people who love to say that black folks are in the Illuminati. Once again, this just shows how black people just have this thought of just remaining poor. I was having this thought before even watching this interview. This is why when I'm at work and I was watching some gang related shit, and they happen to be with Vlad doing the interviews with Jat 5 from Hoover. It's like, why is Vlad even conducting an interview like that? And then it was videos of me watching a dude inside. I think this I don't know if this is Long Beach or wherever it was, but this is dude at work. He's in like security uniform and he getting jumped while he at work. He's from neighborhood because I hear them dissing neighborhood and they beating the shit out of him. I see other people going into certain locations to shop. So I look at this shit and be like, black people live in this space to where we want to keep each other down, keep each other poor and shit. And so that anytime a black person achieves a level of economic success, especially in the entertainment world, black people start adding these things of what they done to get there. And black people love to talk on homosexual shit because a lot of black motherfuckers is gay. Black people always claim they put on dresses. They done some shit at a party. These fools part of the Illuminati. They accepted this shit. And like Jay-Z came out there and stated, I'm from where these motherfuckers didn't even want to see me here, let alone do any of this little bullshit that ignorant niggas make up to thinking that's how people make it, is to be accepted by these people. That these people, regardless of how great you are, how hard you work, these are the people that make you successful. Your hard work doesn't get you there. It's the most clownish shit ever. Also speaking about when people try to label him as Illuminati and this and that because he has achieved on paper and actual wealth $1 billion, that him and his wife sold their souls to the devil and their Illuminati. Like he stated, I ain't come from this world where I find loopholes and do all type of little trickery ass shit. I ain't had to burn nobody to make it to where I'm at. And that's some actual factual shit. And I just like the way he handled those questions, but there were no good questions in this fucking interview. It was just like this dude just didn't know what to ask. He was asking corny shit. I think they want to be corny with the fucking GQ magazine. They don't really know the questions they ask because they're targeting the wrong type of audience over in that magazine. That magazine's not a hip hop magazine. And then especially when you got Jay-Z, Erykah Badu, and the fucking Roots getting ready for what is definitely probably about to blow everybody's goddamn mind out there in Philly. Well, let me see. Let me pull this up. Roots Picnic. That shit, if that shit ain't sold out already. So Jay-Z is coming out for the Roots annual picnic. Since they've been doing this since 2008, so it's going on in 19 year. Let me pull this one up. Let me see where the tickets are. That the Roots have pulled Jay-Z up out of this mug. Oh, this is a cold ass fucking lineup the Roots got here. Let me pull this shit up real quick. So let me pull this up. So, and then it's just like, man, I just hate when these wrong publications try to get a hold of hip hop royalty and shit. And then they bring the wrong person to do these type of interviews, and the interviews are just a flat out fucking dud. So this is this Roots annual picnic in Philadelphia, homie. In Philadelphia, we got Jay-Z and the Roots. So he gonna be performing under live instrumentation. Jay-Z kills that kind of shit. You got Erykah Badu, who kills that kind of shit. That girl Kalani got some nice hit ass songs. She got the girls on that fold my clothes shit. She a little badass chick, tatted up. You got Brandy with hits, T.I. hits, and then going at the 50 Cent and shit. That Mariah the Scientist. I heard some of her music. I like her voice. That girl can definitely sing. You got who else? You got Black Thought, Wale doing some shit. Jermaine Dupri gonna be out there. Man, this is a hellified concert. De La Soul, the remaining members, Corey Bailey Rue. I like that chick. That's a little chick used to hey, put your records on. She and on that little beach cruiser and shit. Dustin, what's his name? Dustin Conrad. He got some good ass music. I don't know who this KWN is. Bilal, hellified live performer, kills every damn music show that he performs at. Joey K, I don't know who that is. They probably dope. Being the Roots got him out here. Sasha Keeble. And then what's gonna really magnify this shit is the fact that hip hop royalty, Jay-Z is stepping to the stage for this shit. And I don't listen to any of you motherfuckers who like to throw Jay-Z slander and shit. Audio biases and all that bullshit. That nigga is hip hop royalty. This shit is May 30th to 31st. Them tickets is probably fucking gone. Let me see. Let's click the button for the tickets. How much are they selling the tickets for? Wait, this one. Oh, that's general admission. General admission. Let me pull this screen up here. Let's see. Buy a ticket. These tickets probably definitely in the. Ooh, Jesus. Let me see. Is that nosebleed or just off the top? Let me see. Hold on. This is a 2-day admission. Oh, wait, that ain't too bad if that's a two-day admission ticket. Let me see. Let's see. All ages. Boom, boom. Oh, so this might be just out there in like one of them open fields, like them little open, what would you call that shit? Where they just having the open area and shit. So they got $1,000. Oh my God, these niggas done made bread because that nigga Jay on this shit. We're gonna pull these tickets up. The $1,000 tickets is sold out. They done sold this shit out. So look, this one for the 2 days silver VIP sold out. People done spewed out that 1,000 on that one. Let's see VIP Gold. How much they wanted for that? 1,500 sold out, all gone. Goodbye. Them shits is out the door. They knocked that shit out the park, homie. You say Jay Badu. Oh shit. We got 2-day general admission tickets. Let's see. 2-day general admission. Those were $425 a piece. $425 a piece for that. And it's gonna be a good vibration. I know the vibe gonna be good at this shit. $250 for the 2-day general admission and shit. So yeah, this is, man. You can't hope for nothing better than just having success with these type of dudes, these type of groups who've done it, throughout major label signings and all that other shit. Let me go in the comments real quick. CJ in the building. Salute. He says, we're live. Yes, indeed. On the box, it says, peace, brothers and sisters. CJ says he should do back on Fig. Sometimes when T-Rail ain't on that look like goof troop shit and overboard talking and he got a real serious motherfucker in there, them niggas know how to ask proper questions and shit. I wouldn't say that wouldn't be too bad. Now, you may have to get Smack off of that motherfucker. Smack sometimes be feeling like he the nigga. He be thinking he be competing for who's the most well-known. I don't need this nigga. Like Smack had issues with Too Short and shit. The Too Short interview was a very good interview. Great interview. That maybe he had to leave Smack up out there because sometimes Smack mentally is just not there. The nigga is slow and halfway retarded. He entertaining than a motherfucker. But for interviews like this, which is for the culture, not for the culture vulturing, and that's the issue with even like this interview you hear, even though it's a young black dude in here, but the black dude interview just wasn't good. And it's time for black people to start tightening shit up, getting out of fuck shit, represent themselves better. Because like I say, that shit still bugs me from that not that long ago, like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, from the African dude not thinking I was black. And not thinking I was from America, just from the type of conversations I can have, the way I can talk. Because he ain't hear me talk the other shit. We was going to talk bitches and shit. We start talking about a little bit about the bitches, but he started talking about like with Africa, he got a wife back in Africa. The minute she come to America, he divorcing her. That nigga want to have control of her. Because I'd be like, that way of getting down with the women is like suck shit. But this dude thought I was fucking from like somewhere in Africa or probably the islands. Because in their mindset, they believe that American blacks function And a lot of Black Americans do operate off of fucking dysfunction and shit. A lot of weirdo shit. And so it's time to start bringing real shit back into the culture, better representation of ourselves, not letting others run the narratives of ourselves. That's even like when it comes to the gang shit. That's why I respect Kev Mack, even Alex from Street TV, even though me and him didn't had issues. Well, more him, not me. I ain't had no issues. I ain't got a beef with motherfuckers if it ain't real beef. But him having issues over shit, I was correct on everything I said about Alex Alonso. But them motherfuckers are some of the best people as it relates to Black culture inside of South Central LA, Compton, Long Beach, and throughout the rest of Southern California, and the way in which they presented. Unlike how it had been stepped on, it had been spreaded with cocaine. This is what these white folks have done to the culture and telling the stories and having a better understanding, the narrative of what comes about the creation of the Bloods and Crip and other street culture amongst Black youth throughout America, not just Los Angeles, is when white folks start conducting interviews. You can go back to the 80s and shit, even how they show Turtle in them and the white cats from out of England, the BBC and them doing interviews with these dudes. Then you having the fucking local news stations doing interviews on gangs, and then other ones doing movies on gangs. And they always put the most demonic, untruthful shit to highlight them and put them in a bad light and fucking things up that they have come over here and culture vulture, stomped on this shit, drug infested this shit, because just like Reagan and them do, like actually in the community, but what they have done when they tell the story, run the narratives, and put cameras behind that shit, and even some of these hood vloggers do the same shit. They are no different than coming in and spreading the cocaine throughout how they did in the community. They spread it on that culture and amongst these ignorant young dudes. They spread the Sherm in this motherfucker. This is what they do in this shit, and mixing up facts and history. Nobody has knowledge of any of this shit. They come in spreading the fucking heroin through this shit, the fentanyl and that shit. And that's what these people present when they present this shit in the glorification of ignorant shit, rather than giving a story of the birth of this shit, where it comes from, where the mindsets of people, because it was some things to learn lessons from this shit. Because there's nothing to really celebrate that shit, glorify, and highlight, but that is where motherfuckers come from. But once again, this is something that America has also created out of the fuck shit that America's been about, which when I go into talking about this major Trump supporter and the conversation I have with this white dude, the way I talk on here is the way I talk in person and talk with him. Fuck the white dude head up. And the white dude knowing this shit. Older white dude who was in love with Trump. And I used to laugh at that nigga when he's going through, because that nigga was so mega and Trump down, stumped down. He went sick when that nigga Trump lost that damn trying to do his re-election. He went sick like the rest of you motherfuckers. Cried and all that shit. Couldn't sleep for 40 days, 40 nights. He was all the way fucked up. Trump get back in there. Yeah, we won the elections and this and that. We're going to get this. Trump to disappoint all these motherfuckers. And now we hurt. And now this nigga in there cheering on Iran. And talking about it. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that shit. But yeah, I think Back on Fig can probably, if they can pull out of being on the goofy shit and really conduct a thorough interview, I think that dude T-Rail does great shit. Even S-Mac or Smack does great questions as well when he ain't trying to fit himself in. Yeah, I'm from the old town. You know, I'm like, do the interview. Let the person speaking interview speak. Ain't nothing worse than interviewers who love to talk over people. Interviewers who like to extend and lead out questions. Just ask the question, shut the fuck up. Respond to an answer. Get the question out of there. And then, but Back on Fig will definitely be dope. But then the one nigga who is a whack ass nigga out of New York who do interviews is that motherfucker. What's the little weird ass DJ out there? The black fool. One was talking all that ill shit about Tupac. Fucking what's so black? He like a corny ass nigga involved in rap. What's that black ass dude? He talking all that ill shit about Tupac. And he's in one time talking shitty, crying, fucking DJ something. I can't think of that black ass fool name. That fool used to be on the car shit. Even this, I knew that nigga was weird. Cause they used to have that fool do some car shit, and the cars he'd present be on like weird shit. He putting rims on car. Yeah, Funk Flex. That nigga putting rims on cars that them old white people in New York put on cars. Old Italian car shit. That motherfucker just garbage and everything. Yeah, Funk Flex is a horrible fucking interviewer. That nigga be over animated. He talk too fucking much. Who was he? He was interviewing the little drug kingpin dude, Kevin, whatever his name was. And that dude had to keep looking at Funk Flex like, nigga, shut the fuck up, nigga. Like, and then they go all animated, acting like old giddy ass bitch. And then and the Velocity Cousin, but like these type of interviews, man, certain companies shouldn't be touching that shit. GQ shouldn't dare touch that Jay-Z interview. They might as well have deleted that shit. Shit was horrible. There was nothing that came out of that shit. Jay-Z was just graceful in his response to the shit. I like Jay-Z's. Oh, Sway would be dope. Sway, yeah, absolutely, CJ. Sway will probably be the one that can do that interview. Yeah, Kevin Childs is the one that Funk Flex is interviewing. And that dude, Kevin Childs, would look at Funk Flex like, nigga, shut the fuck up. Like, how you from New York and don't be knowing none of this shit? You an old ass New York motherfucker acting all clueless and giddy and smiling, giggling. Like, nigga, we having a real conversation about how fucked up we was out here. And you all giddy like the little gold digging bitch. Like, you acting like Alpo and them bitches. Like, shut the fuck up, nigga. And the Velocity Cuss says nobody touched the bill. He says until Hove did. Says Happy Monkey Taco Tuesday. And then Velocity Cuss says Vlad and Cut 22 recycling guests. Yeah, them niggas is trash, like trash as fuck. And then these niggas asking about old fights Japton had, and then that can reignite shit. And then niggas doing their reaction videos to the shit and don't even realize what they're getting pulled in because the cocaine have been sprinkled on your stupid ass head. The fentanyl have been sprinkled on your stupid ass. The angel dust have been sprinkled on your stupid ass. These niggas stupid as fuck. And this is why the Ethiopian nigga think I'm from some other country. Because a nigga got a brain and shit. And them niggas ain't accustomed to that. Even when looking at these ridiculous bitches. That's why I'm going to do a live stream. I wanted to do this shit. Talking about the new queen is the Snow Bunny. Because I'm like the way these old ghetto-fied monkey ass bitches act. Always fighting on TV. You present them in TV. They even audition for stupid ass shows to go in there to fight. Then when you look all across the goddamn net, these dumb bitches, mainly bitches out of impoverished areas, always fighting, just volatile than a motherfucker, reckless than a motherfucker. And then it's gonna get to it's just ridiculous. The new queen to me is a Snow Bunny. Snow galore. Yeah, I want a blizzard in this motherfucker. Because ain't nothing worse than bitches who just want to fight all day. Knock each other on the head, sock each other in the stomachs and shit. And these are bitches who fuck a lot. Being punched in the head, socked in the stomach. What the fuck you think you producing out of a body like that? The rest of these retarded motherfuckers in these goddamn communities. Bitches who punch each other in the head and stomp each other in the body. That's what you get. And these bitches think nothing of themselves that they go on fucking TV networks to audition to fight. The fuck is this shit about? Like, these motherfuckers are ridiculous. And then Velocity Cuss says Yankee Stadium says July 10th through 11th. Says for Reasonable Doubt 30th. Says in Blueprint 25th anniversary. Says, oh yeah, Jay-Z doing this shit. I'm glad Jay-Z coming back out. And then he even there was a question early on in that interview where they asked about the bitch pulling the little scandal on him about, you know, them doing Epstein shit to her, and then the bitch dropped the damn case. And now where are the criminal charges against the lying bitch? And that's an issue within this goddamn country and the way the system works. That you motherfuckers can make up claims on you, and the minute they get busted out for lying, the system doesn't go after them the same way the system goes after you, which is crazy to me. Velocity Cuss says you're gonna take baby Owens to see Jay-Z. Says the Snowman says Jeezy just got a residency at Planet Hollywood. says with a live orchestra. Hell no, man. My kids barely. I be listening to rap and having to break that shit down. My kids don't come from a rap era, rap culture and shit. But I like that they don't, because now I get to explain the lyrics. And then they don't I don't sugarcoat shit. I don't suburbanize parenting with my kids. Fuck that suburbanized shit. I was tripping the other day. I'm at my son's fucking grad teams season little banquet or whatever the fuck they call it. And I'm sitting with my daughter, her mom next to her, this little girl in here cussing. I'm like, because that's the way I talk. I don't sugarcoat shit with them. They are allowed to say cuss word around me and stuff. Express yourself. Don't be reckless saying shit. But this girl's just saying, using cuss words, and her mom be overboard and shit, trying to be restrictive on shit, acting like these kids just don't exist and they can't utilize a cuss word. Then I was tripping at this girl just loose with saying this shit. Like, man, you better watch the fuck you saying. But they don't listen to rap music. They cuss and come from hearing me always cussing. But like, to break down lyricism and stuff, I like to listen to certain rap music, break down certain things, what certain things mean. And then the other trip I get to get with them on, like, because our drives along to their school is watching shit. What was we watching this morning? We were watching, matter of fact, we're watching World War II history. We're watching the history of the rise of Hitler from 1939 leading into the war. They go into fucking Japan, overrunning Manchuria and all that shit. So being able to get lessons, hip hop lessons. So now you hear certain rappers. We listen to certain rappers. We don't listen to all these stupid ass motherfuckers. Then we go into, what else? We go into the history of Chernobyl. I let them listen to that shit. All type of shit. We go into historic shit. So I don't mind letting them use a fucking cuss word. Kind of peon. Ain't no suburbanized parenting around this motherfucker. But listening to certain like lyricism, introducing them to certain rappers, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to take them to a concert, but I can't take them to no Jeezy concert. I ain't ready to let them hear about wrapping up pounds of dope and shit. These kids are still square like, and it'd be funny seeing a lot of righteous-minded black folks who are true to the essence of what black folks are and true to the essence of raising their kids. That it's this funny shit of seeing with black parents who raising their kids away from these environments where bitches punch each other in the head and kick each other in the body and shit. Those parents had their kids in a different environment. It's funny, the trend is going down where they ask the kids square up. And then some of these kids who are just innocent and raised in an environment, they be clueless as to fucking what square up means and shit. And I'll be loving that shit. But being able to break shit down like that, like I had to tell my kid, what does BTA mean? Because they gonna go into playing games around kids from the hood who talk vulgar and way out and shit, and a little bit more advanced on shit, and having to tell them it means belt to ass. And when somebody playing the game, they talking shit, that mean they whooping your ass. So you need to get better at shit. I've been having this nigga work. This nigga been giving me 100 push-ups. Boy, I had him give me 100 push-ups the other day, 50, squatting, 50 and 50 today, pushing through it. You're going to work. You don't try to get better. And the nigga is evolving. It's certain things, it's certain strengths he need to work on. The kid is tall. I don't know how long he's going to stay tall or if it be a continuous thing, but wherever the height is, you need to learn how to move, coordinate, get strong, move shit, bully shit, try to run through shit. And then Auto Boxing says nobody throws Jay-Z bias, says nobody throws Jay-Z bias and slander on this channel. Says we all acknowledge Jay as the top 5 greatest of shit. Nobody give Jay-Z bias. Have you heard of my cousin Deuce Times? Have you ever heard of that guy? Shit. That nigga slander on Jay-Z is atrocious. And there's a lot of other people. It ain't just him. There's a lot of other people who done that shit. And he just don't like Jay-Z. I don't know if he don't like Jay-Z because Jay-Z from New York. We all know dudes got biases like a motherfucker. If you ain't a Clipper, then you sorry as a motherfucker, even if you in the NBA. If you ain't a Cowboy, even though you can be a Hall of Famer or you can be the top nigga in the league, if you ain't on the Cowboys, you sorry as fuck. This nigga will find videos of you looking bad on one play and just slander you. If you out of New York, that nigga just gonna hate the fuck out of you. It's just like crazy with it. That's that gangbanging shit. If you a Crip from this neighborhood, the nigga ain't gonna like you and shit. unless you corrupt. I think Corrupt get it passed because he was with Death Row, which is a bunch of Bloods and shit. And then L5 put in the building, salute. And then Auto Boxing says, Charlamagne the Guy says, our DJ Academics says, would have been good interviewing Jay-Z. You know what? Charlamagne them would be fucking good. They will be absolutely good. But Charlamagne gets on that goofy fucking clown shit the same way sometimes I say T-Rail and them do. As long as Charlamagne ain't, because Jay-Z, I don't think with the controversial shit, because when they asked the question about the Kendrick Lamar and the Drake beef, the battle, and I like how Jay-Z went into the elements of hip-hop. And even removing the fact that breakdancing ain't so much a part of the element anymore. We done moved so far away from it that these bitches got the shit in the Olympics. And wasn't that little goofy acting white chick? Then she went gold or some shit that they done moved hip hop breakdancing and these niggas done took the shit. So that shit ain't really part of the elements. Is you get the Vlad 22s, Adam 22s homogenizing this shit with their amphetamines dosing on top of that shit, fucking it off, killing it off. But he was speaking about with that battle in a way in which some of these retarded ass fans, their function and get down to where the shit becomes personal, the way in which fans react, some of the comments from people, rather than it just being just straight up lyrical battle. Like a lot of that shit goes personal. And the fact that they had personal issues. And the fact that him looking at it from that angle, that just shows maturity of being an older dude. So it lets you know what type of person needs to interview. This guy who's interviewing was a very mature person. He knows his shit, but culturally interviewing for this culture based on maybe if he was on a different platform, but trying to fit this audience that is what GQ is. I'm pretty sure GQ audience is non-black, majority non-black. Probably 2% of black people, maybe not even 5% of black people that's over on that GQ side of shit, watching that shit, checking it for hip hop and shit. And then Andrew Charles says I ain't never heard nobody in Tennessee bumping Jay-Z. That's once again the other aspect of hip hop. It's regional shit. Jay-Z took a long time to make it west, but no. For dudes in the streets, it took them a while to make it to the West. But in the West, who banged Jay-Z was females. Always heard chicks banging Jay-Z music. Certain songs, especially during that time where Ja Rule on that shit with him, Emil and all them other motherfuckers on there. Chicks was rocking with Jay-Z because Jay-Z was always on Fresh Fly shit. And so the chicks out West banged Jay-Z shit. The dudes, not so much. And then, but I had certain homies that banged that shit who was like on the East Coast music and shit. And then I know Boxer says, to be honest with you, says I was under the impression, says that mostly all the brothers in LA says was on some form of gang mess, says until you show different. Oh, absolutely. Nah, we ain't all on gang shit, but that's the projection you see when you get white media projecting that shit, or you get white clown motherfuckers using the internet platforms to run a narrative, and then they find a stupid motherfucker who was just young, active, rambunctious, and thoughtless than a motherfucker, and just leading his head, not using his head, but leading his head forward into just crashing in any fucking thing, getting on there, talking the hardest of shit, fuck these niggas and fuck the ops, and they know nothing about nothing as it relates or how it evolves into why they hate this, why they hate that, how they got involved. And it ain't so much of the streets that's the issue with gangs. It's the fucking households that a lot of these kids come from. It's a lot of these kids fucked up parenting, fucked up economic situations based on poor decisions from their families, mainly, that lead them to this shit. And the families can't pull them out of that shit versus it being so much solely on the streets and shit. And these same people who ruin the fucking experiences within the neighborhoods and shit. And that's simply what it is. Yeah, the government has this part early on that motherfuckers ain't been able to figure it out or get out of that rut. But then again, it's hard to get out of it when the damage is done and Reagan and them bringing drugs out here and the fucking parents fucked up on it. Some of the kids is crack children and shit. Like, so yeah, everybody from LA ain't on that shit. It's a percentage of them. But then the other side of it, where I don't look down on shit, we related to all these motherfuckers. We related to all these motherfuckers. That's why I don't talk about no ops and this and that. We related to one another, but niggas don't understand that shit. We ain't related to them, we friends with them. If we ain't friends with them, we know somebody that know them that could be related to them. That makes no sense for us to be so hateful to each other. And motherfuckers ain't even got to do shit. Motherfuckers just off the top, and that's that anger with them motherfuckers. Some motherfuckers' heart go cold at a very fucking young age, and it starts within these homes. And then CJ says, yeah, it says S-Mac definitely can't be there. It says eating noodles and shit. Yeah, S-Mac just so low class with shit at times. But it is just them niggas just regular niggas that feeling like they're at home and this and that. But at some point, the professionalism and certain things got to be uplifted for certain people. Yeah, certain people you can let your guard down. You can be this and that. You fill out the room. But certain people come with a different level of respect, different level of maturity, or you just fill out where the room is. And then once the ice is breaking, if motherfucker just flowing like that, then they can eat the ghetto ass noodles in front of the camera and shit. But I guarantee if you brought, this is the other thing with dudes like S-Mac, if they had a prestigious white dude to interview, and this is common with Negroes. This is common with Negroes who sold the lesser of themselves when they around the experience of other black folks. It can be even a prestigious black person. They ain't gonna show that level of respect. They'll be late. They'll come looking in the old kind of way. They come drunk. They'll come high. Let them find out they got some old prestigious high-level white dude on the show. Guarantee you see a difference in these niggas. Let Warren Buffett or some shit go on that shit. Elon Musk. Let some old rich nigga. These niggas will clean all that shit up. Behaviors, mentality, all that shit will change. No nigga words and all that other shit. It shows where motherfuckers is at. It did Auto Boxer says, Andrew Charles says, Tennessee says, name the best rapper, says to come from Tennessee. And he says, yeah, they give me the name of that old corny motherfucker out of New York, DJ Funk Flex. And then Mirror in the building, salute to my brother Mirror, salute. And the CJ says Sway would be dope. Yeah, Sway will be definitely a dope ass interview for Jay-Z. But Sway need a new studio, man. He got to change that platform studio setting and shit. It's time to change that shit for where he is and where he should be. And then the DJ Go Young DJ says Kevin Childs is who Funk Flex is interviewing. Andrew Charles says no one in Tennessee listens to New York rap. Nah, y'all too country and shit. Yeah, them niggas out there country and shit. You hear the way that nigga, what's that nigga say? I put Merc. I eat cereal with no Merc. That nigga crazy. What's that nigga? He almost like Glorilla's sister and shit. He like the male version of Glorilla's sister. He said, noodles, no pack, no motherfucker, no seasoning pack. Ate the cereal, no Merc. Fucking country ass niggas. Auto Boxer says the CJ says facts. Slim says Sway would definitely be good. And then Hypey says yes. I like Kevin Childs a lot. Says thorough New York cat. I just didn't like when Kevin Childs is in there trying to bring AZ into his into that little court shit that he had with his drug case. That was the government fucking these dudes over. Because even like it was one of the highlight like powerful parts of the interviews that even fucking I don't know if it was Kevin Childs or that was AZ, where they were speaking about like how during this time when they are being allowed for these drugs to flood in here, you listen when people tell the Alpo, Rich Porter, and his story. The one thing they highlight all the money and shit, but they rarely reference to the age of these motherfuckers. The age will be referenced maybe once or twice, how young they were, they out here getting it, this and that, but how young all of these motherfuckers were touching that kind of money, setting up these drug spots, police knowing that shit, and allowing this shit to kind of funnel its way through the system before now the order is given to law enforcement to go after it. And then in a lot of, it ain't no way for law enforcement to be for a long time. They didn't know what this shit was. But to know you're seeing drug fiends everywhere, New York at a time period back then was just ran down, looked like shit. New York didn't look nothing like how it looks now, like Manhattan and shit. But they were speaking about like how they just allow this shit. New York is a densely populated fucking city. And it's just it's blunt as fuck in a broad daylight running this shit. And it was like tripping off of like how they just allowed us to do this shit. And then just like clockwork, they came for all of us. Knocked us off, knew everybody, giving us these massive ass fucking sentences and shit, washing us the fuck away when it's them who are allowing that shit. But now that shit has an everlasting effect for the people who have put a lighter to that shit and put it to their fucking mouth or pour that shit into a needle and put it through their fucking veins. That shit is a lasting effect. And it's fuck shit up. And then these same people be parents and shit. And then these motherfuckers allow it. Government will chew you up and spit you the fuck out. And then on the box says Andrew Charles says nobody in the rest of the country says listen to Tennessee rap. No, but it's a lot of cats that listen to that MJG and them. I ain't listen to them, but it's a lot of people. They get props from a lot of people across the country. New Yorkers probably didn't listen to them. And then Goyan DJ says Jab haven't even accomplished anything, says get interviews. They just want to stir up street shit. And he got to be mindful of what these niggas doing. These niggas bring you out there to talk about your fight and even what's the name for telling that story too. But now they'll pitch you motherfuckers against each other. And now what do they create? Don't let the internet create a real kickoff of some as the summer starts too between the 40s and the Hoovers and shit. Off of Vlad and them doing an interview. And I think Jab, I ain't watched the interview because I don't want to watch. I see the highlights, but he's well thought in his responses to shit. So I see a level of maturity. He didn't sharpen up. Same way I seen that Crip Max sharpen up when Adam 22 started interviewing. And that's why it's important to be fucking a little tuned up in that motherfucking brain and shit. But he responded real carefully and how he tells his stories, not to diss anybody, make it seem like a diss, and come straight out. But for them to ask that question about his fight from many years of fucking go between him and fucking 4 extras who doesn't have a fucking hand. So it ain't like they're going to be fighting and shit. Like them white folks sitting back there and just casting motherfuckers for their stage play and shit. Like this shit is way the fuck out. And then I don't know if it's AIV. I watched the shit they using to embarrass fucking Jefe, his phone coming out the nigga mouth. I'm like, man, what the fuck is going on with these dudes? And then it's like all he can ask is gangbanger shit. Like, come on, man. And ain't that dude was in went to jail behind somebody losing their life and shit? And then Velocity Cuss Slim says, you ain't never listened to 8 Ball and MJG. Says 3-6 Mafia, says Little White. Who you asking that to be? Like I told stories about the fights I used to see in Texas over that 3-6 Mafia shit. But in LA, I didn't listen to that shit before I left the army. I used to hear some of 8 Ball and MJG shit because he used to play on the TV for videos, and then I think CJ Dad and them used to play that shit. I think his pops or Van, one of them used to play 8 Ball music. I know I used to hear 8 Ball music out of y'all house and shit. It was that one, they had that one talk about Candy Paint or some shit. And then like I said, I always got these vivid memories of all this shit. And Auto Boxing the Velocity Cuss says, yeah, I heard it, says, but I ain't feeling it, says Young Buck. Says the best rapper, says a come from Tennessee, says and he dates trannies. Yeah, that's the other foul shit to be on his knock and shit. But I hear he didn't. It was some sneak shit. I hear he wasn't fucking with it. The person passed as a woman and shit. So I don't know how they playing that tranny shit. I hope he wasn't. But who knows? These niggas who act like street niggas be fucking with them type of dudes. But I think that shit was like on some sneak shit. He didn't know. Is what I want to hope, because I hate to hear that all these niggas is on the FAG shit. Like I hate to think that shit. I think he even got the motherfucker snuck up on him and shit. Because that I don't want to think that nigga out here chasing trannies and shit. That shit crazy. And then Angie Charles says you would get a what he said, you would get laughed. Says you would get laughed at. Says if you were caught bumping some New York BS around here. Says if anybody listens to that, says listen to that around here. Says they do it. Says they do it in private. Says with headphones on. And then Hypey says if you listen to any kind of drill rap, says in the morning, says you guarantee, says to have a fucked up day. Man, I can't even understand that old British sounding ass shit. And then Hypey says the kids don't know. Says the kids don't know what socking up somebody means. Says like how Victor stays socking up Deuce. Says like Victor stays socking up Deuce players and shit. Yeah, Deuce can't stand that nigga Victor and they're winning and shit. And Spurs on the roll, like I told niggas early in the season. And these niggas who watch the NBA every day, they got the NBA league and shit and don't be knowing what the fuck they watching. And then Velocity cousin Angie Charles says, I'm just messing with you, Slim. Says I know a lot of the South don't rock with Jay-Z. Says I slowed down on listening to Jay-Z. Says that he went 100% pop, says with the Blueprint 2 album. Nah, he ain't go pop. I think this other thing with niggas where you gotta like it's the thing with going pop. You can't follow the trends of like regular street niggas because street niggas just stay street. These niggas don't evolve, they don't elevate, and the problem in that shit, if you elevate, it's niggas wanting to pull you down. So that's where you gotta lead that shit. And the one thing gonna carry you is be able to be lyrical than a motherfucker, a great storyteller. And real dynamic in the way you spit shit, and then working with the right cast of people. You don't need that shit. You ain't gotta go pop. People gravitate towards rap. Do you think all these white kids around America love to use the fucking N-word? Cause of rap. And they ain't using that shit out of no racist shit. I've been telling niggas that N-word ain't what motherfuckers make it out to. I post videos all the time. I love when I post videos of white people saying, "What's up, nigga?" And it ain't nothing but a bunch of white folks in. I put a video on my Instagram the other day. White dude knocking out like 4 or 5 white dudes in the body shop. They all talking about nigga this, the nigga knocking them out. Say, "What's up, nigga? I'll whoop you niggas' ass." And he in there banging on shit. Ah, 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 shit just dropping. Like all day. Everybody uses that shit. Shit don't mean that shit. They ain't using it like they granddaddy and shit. And then they be out there in the woods fighting each other. And they love saying, "What's up?" And they ain't even just that. It's the way we use it. People greet each other with it. It's like shit, it's over with. It ain't being used out no racial shit. And that's the influence of hip hop, which spread that shit, but also out of our communities. Just like I say, when one of the homies who I grew up, matter of fact, the homie I talk about the first time my brother eat the fucking Mexican food at their house. That's the homie Raphael. He like the only Mexican over there. Raphael got older, man. This nigga, Raphael talk like a black Mexican and shit. But when you look at him, Raphael one of the more white skin. That nigga look like Ryan Garcia, matter of fact. You may imagine Ryan Garcia letting his hair grow long like fucking Jesus and shit. Because it was funny. It's around the time when Passion of Christ came out. Because that's why I was calling this nigga Passion of Christ. And then Raphael let his hair grow and shit. Man, we up there at fucking at Universal City Walk. And it stormed me off because this nigga say nigga so much. I don't even use the word nigga like that. I've never really stayed like that. Because when I was saying the word nigga, we were saying ooh, like it was a bad word to say. And then I grew up with older parents, so I didn't really get accustomed to using the N word, even though I would say that I ain't a person that's gonna be just blurring out nigga like that all the time. But so we at Universal City Walk, and this nigga Raphael, every time he talk, he like nigga this, damn nigga. And we like, I'm looking at him like, hey, almost about to be like, hey, homeboy, you better chill with this shit. But like, oh, this is the homie Raphael. But the nigga looking like straight up surfer Jesus and shit. And I said, nigga look like a Mexican Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia let his hair grow like this. That's how that fool Raphael look. He look like Ryan Garcia as Mexican dude. And then you can tell he grew up around black folks. And then Velocica says, Slim says, Glock's yellow tape says, what is that? What the fuck that word say? I can't even see it on the computer. Glaucoma 2. Lil White says, doubt me now. Says low key classic. Oh, the white dude used to rap with 3-6 and shit. And then Velocica says, Slim says, Glock yellow tape. Oh wait, no. I gotta wait for the damn screen to change. This damn screen shit behind. And it would cost it because I can barely read off this computer. He says, I told y'all Jay-Z ain't shit. Says I like fuck rap. What? He says, I'm like fuck rap sometimes because they ain't talking about nothing but shit that waste time. Nah, Jay-Z ain't on that shit. That's these young motherfuckers who wonder why their careers don't go anywhere. They wonder why their careers don't go anywhere. Like you use lyrical content that's the N-word every 5 seconds. Bitch this, suck on this, my dick this, and a bitch ain't this. You think they can play that shit? So where can you go with that kind of music? You think you're going to be able to book some kind of concert? You can be played inside the arena during timeout break? They can put you in a video game? Absolutely fucking not. You think you can go on some damn TV award performance show and they're going to play your shit? Absolutely not. And a lot of these dudes who get themselves in rap and all this other shit, they don't realize how much they're destroying themselves. This is like that's the waste of time going to the studio and you're in there doing nothing but talking about killing motherfuckers and fuck the ops over there and this and that. Where the fuck you gonna do a concert at? Who's gonna buy tickets? If you are to sell tickets and try to expand your motherfucking reach, but you dissing niggas, creating verbal combat that ends up getting niggas killed. Because all them niggas who was talking that shit and that Chicago shit, they dead. The ones in LA, the ones down there in New York and Houston, all that shit. You watch these fools chasing each other over a diss record one of them put out. It was a fool in New York. I don't know if I posted that video. This dude in here getting chased by another nigga, beating him up, talking about you from 30 Wild or 20 Wild or some shit, and then and punching this dude up, then dragged him out the store. This nigga hiding in between a crease in between his show. He so damn skinny. He done slid between some old space in between one of the damn shelves and shit. That dude kicking his ass. He in there running away from ass whooping. And Andrew Charles says, I know boxing says it's all good. Says all good, fam. Says I'm just talking shit. Says but it's true. And then Auto Boxing says we all give Deuce a pass. Says Deuce wakes up listening to the Blood album. Says that he probably calls his co-workers crabs daily. Says Deuce biased and hatred runs deep, man. That is the most biased nigga you will ever come across on this shit. That shit is comical as shit, man. And if Vlasica says, so you saying Relly says a naturalized, bona fide, certified hater. Man, that nigga is certified. He gang member. That nigga fucking gang member. Only gang members do that kind of shit. Gang members tend to be biased as fuck. And that's where that shit come from. And I don't know how a nigga don't like a nigga because they ain't from New York or because the rap is from New York. Even when we do the rap shows, anytime he plays some New York shit, it's either got Dr. Dre on it, Daz did the beat, maybe Corrupt rap with him, Snoop rap with him, or Dr. Dre did some shit. I'll be like, this nigga crazy. And then Auto Box says, Velocity Cuss says, Glaucoma says why I want to hear somebody rap about eye problems. Says he says eye problems. Says go put on a pair of glasses on. And then Auto Box says the Velocity Cuss says are you new to this channel? Says or something. Says it's been established years ago. Says that Deuce is a bona fide hater. Says, but he's our brother. Says so we let it slide. Yeah, we definitely let it slide, man. We got major love for Deuce. That nigga crazy, man. Nigga crazy. What nigga say about the Betty made, nigga better get it in blood. And it because says rap is associated with a lot of suspicious stuff. Says rap been hijacked, says like Christianity. Rap is, but see, this is the problem I have where people talking about rap got hijacked. The white people ain't fuck rap up. The white artists ain't fuck rap up. That's the other thing. And that's like the real excuse that niggas make. The niggas who hijack rap is niggas who ain't got no skills, ain't never put any effort. They just thought rap was an easy lick outside because they can't sell dope. They come into rap talking a bunch of ignorant shit. Then brought a lot of fucking disgusting behavior into rap music, even though they ain't the biggest stars in it. It's just that they started to flood the rap game. It's these people who don't spend no time writing shit. They don't spend no time thinking out what they're going to rap about. These niggas just go in the studio high. How much drugs you got? You got that cocaine too? Yeah, sprinkle some of that fentanyl in it. We about to go over the booth and we about to make some real fire shit. Hit the beat. Ooga, ooga, ooga. Booga, booga, booga. Man, put the lighter sound in that shit. Yeah. Yeah. Now hold the lighter to the glass. Yeah. Can it pick that sound up? Okay, yeah. Smoking on that gas. Yeah. About to make this girl kiss my ass and all this other shit. Then the niggas high in the booth and they rapping zesty shit. Ooh. Get the fuck out of here. You can't take that shit nowhere. That's what happened to rap. These niggas done got on that shit. It ain't the white rappers. The white rappers ain't fucked this shit up. The other niggas hating on the man Jay-Z and them ain't shit. Man, Tupac ain't shit. Nas ain't shit. Man, listen what I'm about to go in here and do. Ooga. Boo. Man, what's that nigga Panda? Them type of niggas start coming in the game. Remember that stupid ass nigga? What's that dumb nigga name? And then he had a hit song. That nigga just said, I'm using a letter. Panda. That nigga did a freestyle one day. It was like, what the fuck this shit is? I think BET brought that nigga on to do a freestyle cypher. And I think the freestyle cypher recording, they aired that shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this fool? Or was he on TV when he did that shit? I think that nigga was on TV when he did that shit. But he needs to make some dumb ass fucking music. Like, even Young Thug music is stupid as fuck. Like, I seen everybody, I know Young Thug had fans like that till he went to the trial. He had a trial like that. These niggas like this nigga. And I try to listen to everything I heard Young Thug on been the most dumbest shit ever. Like, niggas can't be, man, let's go, man, rewind that lyric. That nigga just said some profound shit. Rewind that shit, man. That nigga just said, ooga, ooh, Papa Perk, oh, perk, perky. And then get the fuck out of here. These niggas is fuck up, but that's because niggas retarded, so they understand that shit. And then Velocity Cuss says, Slim says, was that you? Was that you that said Deuce goes to sleep? Says go to sleep, mean mugging, and wakes up mugging. No, I ain't say that shit. But I can see that nigga doing that shit. And the Deuce Time says, Relly says, told you about your boy Ho. This ain't, look, you ain't tell me nothing about Hov. This ain't about Hov being whack. This is about GQ magazine and them being trashed in this interviewing dude of Jay-Z's stature. Hov is far from whack, bro. So it ain't me talking about Hov. Just talking about how horrible this interview was. You look, he just come. His first comment is to hate on Jay-Z. Told you, Jay-Z, man. Like, get the hell out of here. And then Matthew says, Donald Boxer says, best Tennessee rapper, says Young Buck. And then Picasso says rapping is like selling your own people. Says rap is like, no, it depends on the rapper, because some of these rappers are selling dope to their own people. He says rapping is like selling your people. Crack in the hood, says, and every once in a while says come through in a Bentley so people can see their hard-earned money, says one last time. No, you right about that shit, but not rap. It's about the certain rappers. And then it ain't just that. You got certain fucking people who are also a part of that culture that buys that shit, that will fill up shows to go see that shit. Like, and it ain't the white folks that have fucked rap up. It's been these street niggas who have come here and have abused the fuck out of rap because they don't put no effort into it. They have abused rap. They don't take no time to write shit. They don't structure shit. That's like doing homework. Man, I ain't come to this rap shit to be learning. Yeah, fuck all that, man. Yeah, Tiny told me to write bars and structure and I gotta do 16 bars. Nigga, I can't count that motherfucker. How this nigga tripping? But what I can do is pop a perk. I'll pop a perk and I rap for 16 minutes. Fuck the bars, nigga. I'll just spin some shit over this beat, nigga. Yeah, point to something. I'm gonna rap about everything in this room. Yeah, perky, fentanyl, bitch ass motherfuckers. And the Deuce Time says best rapper out of Memphis says it's probably Juicy J, says a Project Pat. Project, they got good songs. Them niggas ain't lyrical though. Juicy J be making some dope ass like club music and shit. And then, but rapper, I think, yeah, I guess. And then Matthew says, oh, okay, Donald Boxer says, I found your comment. Says, I agree with Young Buck, says being the best Tennessee rapper. Says I'm not familiar with other Tennessee rappers. Yeah, like lyrically, Young Buck probably is the hardest rapper out of Tennessee. There's no doubt about that shit. Wait, where's that dude Blue? No, I said dude. Wait, hold on. Let me type that. I think Blue is out of Tennessee. Or is that fool an Atlanta rapper? That fool be rapping his ass off. Let me see. Young Dolph has some cool music, but I wanted to give him the top label. Oh no, Young Blue is out of Alabama. Yeah, it's an Alabama rapper. All right, so but yeah, I think Young Buck will probably be the best rapper that comes out of Memphis. There's no doubt about that. He ain't the most legendary. Most legendary gonna probably be 8Ball and MJG and them. And then Matthew says, I forgot about that. Says, I forgot about that. His Transformer dating thing, laugh out loud. Yeah, I think that was he thought it was a bitch and is one of them old punk ass dudes that want full female. He done got snuck up on with that shit. I hope he ain't know that was a tranny and did that shit. And if he found out, or that he even like, man, ever having me, I'm killing that motherfucker. Like, so maybe he knew that shit and they busted his ass out or something. Or hopefully he ain't do nothing, but I'm killing that motherfucker. Fuck that shit. And then Picasso says the police knows exactly what they're doing when they're preying on majority black neighborhoods. Says they keeping the rules turning. Says so as a result, they keep their careers and pension intact. But that's because of the breakdown within the black community. This breakdown amongst the adults, amongst the family, especially amongst the women. We got women who are so heartbroken, the family structure and dynamics fucked up. Everybody chasing at the love when they got kids out here, heartbroken, going through this mental shit, losing themselves when it's kids out here. Kids get thrown in the back burner. It's fathers abandoning their kids because they ain't no longer with the mother, can't fuck the mother, so they don't want nothing to do with the kids. Like, it's all that kind of shit. And then the kids grow up in that shit. That shit affects the fuck out of kids. And then these kids become hardened. These kids become fucked up. These kids be wanting to react. Nobody's listening to these motherfuckers. And then these kids don't have their words to express themselves, but they got a fist. They got shit they can pick up and fuck you up. And that shit helps to release whatever the fuck they going through. Because the bitches and these punk ass niggas too busy chasing each other, falling out with each other, heartbroken, and not wanting to do nothing with the kids. That's one thing I make sure I steer clear of. I ain't need to be with the bitch. I enjoy that and had time. That's how the kids get here. But to think that I will be like, fuck that. I don't want nothing to do with these motherfucking kids. I can't get with them. Man, get the fuck out of here. I don't even want to see them. Man, I refuse that shit. I wasn't brought up with that shit. I come up in this world in fucked up terms. Y'all done heard the fucking story, but I wasn't raised by that. My mom and dad wasn't like that. I grew up around the dopest motherfuckers history. And my mom and dad was the dopest people ever. Not the biological ones, but the ones who raised me, the dopest. The other motherfuckers fucked up, and it's a lot of kids that go through that shit. Dads be gone, bitch, or it may not even be the bitches pushing niggas out the way. I used to hear that shit growing up. I used to hear the illest shit. That's why in the marriage, I used to hear these bitches talk all day about how they didn't need dudes and all this other shit. And I used to be tripping like, well, what this bitch mean she don't need a dude? How the hell she gonna get a kid? Then you be hearing this shit in church about Jesus just having a mother. The father didn't fuck, and maybe that's where these bitches getting it from. So maybe they not be like, how do babies get made? A bitch can just one day just wake up with the motherfucker in her stomach. And I used to be tripping on that shit. How the stomach open up and the baby come out? Like, what the fuck? How the hell your stomach open up and you walk out? They get older, like, oh shit, these bitches pushing that motherfucker out of there. But yeah, you just start hearing fucked up shit in the mentality of motherfuckers. And that's what happens within the goddamn neighborhood. It ain't just no police doing that shit. It's the family. Like, we know what the hell is up against us. But when you are solid mentally strong motherfucker, you know how to fucking maneuver around that shit. You ain't gotta get caught up in the shit. Even if you a dope fiend motherfucker, or you a dope selling motherfucker, you ain't gotta do this reckless shit. You ain't gotta do just obvious, just making some rebellious statement like fuck that. I'm just gonna be the superest bum ever. I'm about to make everything look fucked up. I'm just gonna be nasty as fuck. And everybody face nasty as fuck with it. And then in the Diamond Doom, see, I ain't gonna never get into that Trump motherfucker story, but man, if I'm gonna get into it, I'm gonna definitely get into it. Let me get to these comments because I can't wait to how that nigga switched up on Trump. And the way I talk about this shit on here, the way talking with this fool, and we having civilized talk and waking them up because I've been saying this shit. And then talking about how I talk about where America was wrong in that World War II shit and its punishment towards Germany, rather than moving these people to Israel. Because all these white folks, I hear so many white folks talking about like Israel and running the government. They don't give a fuck about Israel. And so many people cheering on the Iranians. It's crazy. Diamond Newman says, do believe Jack can fight, says, that good, says, oh, he meant you forgot to put I. Says, I do believe Jack can fight that good. Says, have you seen Gamebangers fight? So have you seen Gamebangers fight better than boxers? Says, can tell past stories. Says from fights. Says from fight you seen from Gamebangers. Says then you know. Says then you. Damn, y'all gotta learn to write, bro. Y'all be writing so fucked up. Says then you know. Or did you know any good Gamebangers fight? Hell yeah, absolutely. See, that's the other thing with this internet shit. Y'all watching the most niggas who want to be in the spotlight, because there's a lot of these people out the damn neighborhood that want to be actors, want to be cast for shit, try to make it in the damn Hollywood shit, and these are the ones y'all get featured with. The ones who want to be seen, want to be heard. And then they the ones who they either Crip or Blood, and then people think they represent all of LA. Hell no. Nah. You got gang members who would only want to be seen on camera, who you may never see on camera, who don't do interviews, don't do none of that shit, who can actually fight, who are actually fit than a motherfucker, who can actually beat shit up, can knock motherfuckers out, who gangbang. Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Blueface in them don't represent gang members. Even though Blueface can fight, he just don't have a mentality of beating niggas up. He got a good base for fighting. He got a good stance. He knows how to throw punches and this and that. He just ain't got the mentality of that shit. He ain't got a killer instinct for fighting. But there's niggas who are from LA who can fight. Not this shit y'all seeing from this old what's that fool name? What's the white dude putting on these fights? His name Aiden Ross. To make the best fighter motherfuckers. Like absolutely, yeah, it's a lot of gangbanging motherfuckers that can fight. It's a lot of gangbanging. This is why some niggas ain't cut for a lot of that shit from certain hoods. There's certain hoods that's gonna make you fight. You're gonna go and abandon. If you got a neighborhood with abandoned properties in it, you're gonna get back there, you're gonna fight. They're going to put you through a lot of tests. They're going to do all that shit. There's a lot of fucking gang members who can fucking fight in LA and probably throughout this country. Where do you think most boxers come from? They come from the communities we come from. So absolutely. Andrew Charles says, best Tennessee rapper, says I don't know. Says A-Ball, says probably one of my favorites. Juicy J says probably the most famous Tennessee rapper, says people love Dolph. And he says Yo Gotti says the fire back in the day. Yeah, you see, those are like fire artists, like they run, but I think Young Buck, based on sound and how to rap and all that shit, he probably better than all of them out of there. On the boxing, Velocity Cuss says, Mean Muggy laughing at, he talking about Deuce waking up Mean Muggy. He in there got the angry face. He laughing back at you. Says that should be his thumbnail icon. And the Roland Andrew Charles says there's some newer generation Tennessee rappers, says, but I don't listen to them. And then Matthew says here in Brownsville, Brownville's Texas, says we're 90% Mexican. Says and at the barbershop, says every other word is says an N-bomb, laugh out loud. Says but not in the racist way. Says that's what they call each other. Says, and they listen to a lot of rap. Yeah, everybody uses the N-word. The N-word is not this shit that some old people who find offense in hearing that shit. But sometimes you got to be, as a younger person, and the use of certain language, you just gotta be mindful of who's in the environment, who's around you. I'm a person who like to cuss a lot, but I know how to limit that shit when there's older people around. I like to talk vulgar if we're talking about chicks. I know how to limit that shit if it's women around, especially if there's older people around. I don't talk that certain way. I'll clean that shit up. And then, but yeah, you just gotta be mindful when there's older people, especially older black people who may hear the word and view it from where white people used to call them that shit. Because like I said, when I was growing up, even like around black folks, even when black folks are saying the N-word, it was some shit that people look at you like on some, ooh, and this and that, like especially as younger kids. And you didn't hear many of the older adults using the N-word flying like that. I think over time that shit start becoming the thing. Because niggas was saying nigga. Richard Pryor probably the one nigga on TV saying nigga and shit. And then matter where was Sanford or something? Was that in the 70s or early 80s? That nigga said, look at all, he said, where are all the white folks in this court? He said, look around, it's enough niggas in here to make a Tarzan movie. That nigga Sanford is so funny as fuck. And then Matthew says, he said, when you gonna pull over some white people? Shit. And then Matthew says, I didn't realize all these rappers says like Moneybagg and Young Dolph says are from Tennessee. And then Dusan says sometimes you don't be knowing shit about music, man. Says, bro, what was NBA Youngboy says and Cardi B rap about? Man, you ain't never heard me hype up no damn NBA Youngboy Cardi B. I don't hype them up. I don't dare listen to it, but Cardi B got a nice little flow to her. I like the way, like if you listen to her music for women. So I let that shit stay in that lane. Her music for women who pop in they shit. But Cardi B got a nice flow, the way she structures her songs and this and that. Like you understand why where she is, where she's at in her career and shit. Just from the sound, the production that goes in her shit. NBA Youngboy, I don't listen to his shit. His shit wild and crazy and reckless. But when you listen to him spit, the way he raps, the way he over that shit, he already got some other dudes still in the style. That one dude said, who got that boop, 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 whatever that song is, it sounds just like some NBA Youngboy shit. Got everybody dancing that shit. Everybody thought it was NBA Youngboy. I think a nigga named Header or something or some shit like that. And then I know Boxy says the Velocity Cuss says Dusha made Kendrick Perkins his thumbnail picture. And they in there rolling and shit. Then they Deuce Time is funny as fuck, bro. And then Otto Boxy says after that, oh yeah, Deuce, that nigga Tyrone told me tell both you and CJ how that nigga end up calling and shit. Otto Boxy says after that getting blood, says Mark stop making bets. Says Deuce bringing the violence to these YouTube streets, man. That nigga me, it's a mean nigga, man. Darby Newman says designer. Oh yeah, that nigga talking about panda. That nigga had that old stupid ass rap. Fucked his whole career off. Cause he was skimming by. He made it to the door with that dumbass song. And Otto Boxer says, we call that mumble rap. Says it was the downfall of our beloved hip hop music. It really that Dipset was a downfall of rap. Even before that mumble rap really start to break through. That Dipset shit fucked rap off. Even though that shit was trendy and shit, all that little retarded dressing shit they used to do and all this other shit, that's what fucked rap off. The Cam'rons and all that shit, when they start doing that shit and it was all popular and the niggas wearing pink and thinking that shit dope, that's what started to open the door to that shit. Then New York rappers, the ASAP niggas was blending Texas style to they rap, trying to be New Yorkers, and they start fucking that shit up. Velocity Cuss says Slimmy and they're rolling. And then Andrew Charles says worst freestyle ever says was that whack ass garbage Eminem did on national TV. Says really, man, nah. Eminem gotta be number 2. That designer nigga is definitely number 1, but for decades. That nigga will be number 1 for 100. It gotta be some old Donald Trump level dumb fucking rapper, the out dumb that panda shit. Or whatever that freestyle that nigga did on a TV show. And then Diamond Newman says, did you hear the lyrics? Did you hear the lyrics to Young Thug? Says my lifestyle. Says try to repeat those lyrics. And then Velocity Cut says Slim equals Ono Boxing. Veggie equals says the host of the show. Says the host of the channel. And he says, Velocity Cut says, what he says, Getty Green says probably one of the hardest albums, says to come out of Tennessee. And then Andrew Charles says, I blame one of greats or one of the greats. See, I'll be missing words, throw shit off. He says, I blame one of the greats, says Gucci Man, says for the downfall of rap. Says he really took ignorant, dumbass, drug addict rap music to a whole new level. No, the one thing I blame Gucci for was him bringing, you definitely right with Gucci, but Gucci bringing that dumbass nigga he had with him. What is that motherfucker? Not Waka Flocka, the other motherfucker. It was that nigga, one of the stupidest motherfuckers ever. What was that fool name? He go, hey, 17 for this, whatever he sold his drugs for. And they say, hey, one day I watching the interview, that they said, man, you see the chains, you see the diamonds, that nigga ain't got shit on. I said, this nigga's stupid as fuck. Yeah, that's that nigga. OJ the Juice, man, that motherfucker was stupid. Matter of fact, he was so stupid. They had some funny, like, cartoon parody of that nigga talking about show bus shawty. That nigga is dumb as fuck. That's where Gucci Man fucked up, bringing that stupid ass nigga in the rap. That nigga used to try to freestyle and shit, because that's when Gucci and them started that, whatever they gang shit name or they rap group name was, they had a little motion roll with that shit. And that nigga OJ the Juice Man to talk, and they do interviews, they're like, man, this nigga is straight out of fucking some like retard. He sat in his classroom, he like extreme special ed. That nigga went to school in a padded room. They definitely had to buckle that nigga in. That motherfucker is stupid, homie. And he said, hey, 1746, whatever the fuck the motherfucking price was. Said this nigga definitely stupid as shit. And Andrew Charles says he made dumb cool. Talking about OJ. That nigga is ridiculous. Ono Box says Andrew Charles says facts. Gucci Man says definitely brought the dummy mash mouth talking to rap. And then that nigga had that, but Gucci had them beats. That was the only thing with his shit. Cause that elimination, that nigga talk slow. He talked like the fat kid off of PJs, that Eddie Murphy cartoon. That's who Gucci Man rap like. Gucci Man rap like he like fat. He rap how you expect that Big X to plug their sound and shit. That's how it be short of breath and shit. That's how Gucci sound when he used to rap. And then Picasso says gang members, dope dealers, etc. You're supposed to put the little commas in between each of those. Says gang member, dope dealers, etc. Says have low life expectancies. Do they? Says in my opinion. Says when the police show up. Says on the scene, it's a wrap. Says everybody guilty. Says by association. Says police looking for tattoos and dope. Gang members' life expectancy is due to habits and shit. Seen a lot of them die in their 60s and shit. And that's due to fucking drugs and alcohol and shit. And just not eating. And a lot of them are skinny. They skinny cats. It's just the drugs, alcohol, and trauma. That post-traumatic shit. A lot of that post-traumatic shit kills a lot of these niggas. That's what they don't understand with the ones who are just wild out here smoking motherfuckers, doing all that shit. That should be hunting them dudes. I know that shit gotta hunt a lot of these dudes. For you to just smoke a motherfucker for no reason. And then on the boxing, Andrew Charles says, I disagree, Slim. Says I'm not an Eminem fan. Says, but the worst freestyle was the one Gucci Man did. Says that was the true definition of a dummy. Yeah, all them fools. But like I say, when Picasso was putting that shit out about what ruined rap, it was these niggas from out the streets and all this other shit coming in a rap who didn't have no lyricism. They didn't give a fuck about the elements of rap music, the sounds of rap music, none of that shit. They was like, man, I can put this shit out, man. This is my new crack. And rap just became drugs and shit. And then Velocity Cuz says, hey, Cuz says you're gonna review games. The documentary 3 says got a bootleg. Now I'm gonna wait for it to come out and check it out. And he says on the box says Velocity Cuz says the game documentary album says definitely 4.5. Well, he got some new shit out. Hold on, I didn't see no shit on Tidal from, oh wait, maybe it didn't come out on Tidal because Game got beef with Jay-Z. Hold on, let me see. The Game got a new album. And I already got my playlist ready for tomorrow too, Deuce. I done put a lot of new music on my shit. No, the Game ain't got no document. Oh, you say you got on bootleg. Yeah, I want to check it out. I know I ain't seen no new music from Game and shit, but you put it right there. Something about bootleg or some shit. Oh yeah, Velocity Cuts put that. And then Angie Charles says I wasn't gonna bring it up tonight. Says, but fuck it. Says gas went down today. Said my city. Says diesel went down almost $1. Says from a couple of days ago. Says straight to her mom. Says can lick my nuts. Well, how did y'all gas go down and shit? Maybe Trump brought some of that Venezuelan shit right into Tennessee. I wish our shit go down. Our shit done went up another 20 goddamn cents. And I'm ready for the gas station I go to go back another 20 cents. Diesel gas is at $6 and shit. And then and the Velocity Cut says, nah, Slim says the document you won says it's definitely 5 mics. Okay, I got you. And then Sports Prediction in the building. Salute to my brother, Sports Prediction. What's cracking? And then Auto Boxing says Blueface is trash. Red says his stamina says was doo-doo. Says when you want to big up LA boxers, says never forget Sugar Shane Mosley. Says definitely a beast in his young days. Oh yeah, absolutely, Sugar Shane. And then Matthew says yes, Young Buck says still making music. And then Picasso says if we stop blindly following each other, says and take responsibility for our own actions, says we would change the country, says for the better. Says in my hood, says we grew up fighting daily, says no gangs in sight. But kids who fight and do all that kind of shit, even amongst their reckless shit, like you being like we just fighting and shit, eventually that shit turns into something. You can't just be in there fighting for no reason. And kids who, those are kids who aren't supervised. And a lot of that shit forms out of certain kids being jealous of other kids when kids are just fighting for anything. Even when you break that shit down and look at it. A lot of fights you have as kids over some nigga being jealous, you being heated with somebody, there's no adults around, and now that shit explodes into something. That's even like, or people agitate that shit. I remember one of my homeboys, and this is why I could have got on some like, going into like, especially with the clique I was from, with my neighbors starting that shit. My big fight was at Jesse. I remember having a big ass fight at Jesse Owens as a kid that niggas egging on and shit. And this is what a nigga I went to school with, but it was this nigga trying to show out in front of the other niggas because this kid wanted to be on some gang shit. Me, always been a cool kid. Like I said, I always been I've been one of these dynamic niggas hard, a nigga that's hard to figure out. You around all these motherfuckers, but I'm the type of nigga want to study shit. As a kid, nigga, I be wanting to look at the bugs and shit. Jesse Owens, I used to love going to Jesse Owens because the airplanes fly over that motherfucker. I was an airplane fanatic. And I'm watching the planes all fucking day. But then I'm out here doing all the same shit everybody else. So the one nigga, he want to be known and this and that. We at elementary school, matter of fact, we in school with the Hoovers. We at Woodcrest Elementary. Everything all cool, this and that. He get up to this park and acting funny style and shit. Trying to show out. This one. All right, good night. So when we get to the park, this nigga acting all funny style, doing all this extra out shit for these fools. And now we got to get down. I wasn't even trying to fight the nigga, but the one homie brother, I think we like fifth graders or some shit. And this nigga up there, trying to egg us on, push. You know how people push you into each other. And the nigga swing on me and shit. Man, I beat the brakes off this nigga. Beat that nigga up. I see that nigga at school the other day. Cause we had Jesse Owens fighting. Our school way in the 107 Hoovers, Woodcrest on Butlawn. And we go to school, that nigga, because he's a light-skinned dude. That nigga, I got a little black mark up on there. We kids, so ain't like you about to be black and old nigga eye up like you don't know Mike Tyson hitting shit, but he got a little black shit up under his shit where his eye done red up. And mine, I was never nigga was going to expose. You know, I was a nigga that clown and shit, but on some fighting friends and shit, that was never my thing. I wasn't going to go and embarrass him and talk shit to him. But when I'm looking at him like, yeah, nigga, looking at his face like, this the fuck you get. Like, nigga, you acting like a little phony ass bitch, nigga, up here at this park. I mean, these niggas, you talking about fighting what niggas want to see fights, nigga. We fought in the front of for those who know Jesse Owens, when you go in the gym, you got them stairs. We fighting in the front of the damn building. And it's older kids, because ain't no adults out there egging us on to fight. Then it's like kids being brought up there by their parents, like the mothers. So then it's like, no, ooh, because everybody want to see this fight. So we go to the back on the side of the fucking gym, and we back there fighting till this nigga didn't want to fight no more. Like I say, and I'm just a cool fucking kid. I'm just a cool kid, nigga. I ain't gonna be one of these niggas you gotta hold back and all that other shit. When it's over, it's over. Like, nigga, I ain't no reckless acting nigga, but it was these niggas egging it on. And a lot of these fights be people egging it on. But it's because when adults want to ignore what little kids is doing this shit, and kids fighting, that shit can blow over into kids gonna formulate their own little gangs and cliques. They watch what the older kids doing in the environment. No, you can't be part of their gang, so you formulate your own shit. And until that shit explode into something, and then now you need to disband that shit and join the actual gang over there. So that ain't always, just because kids fighting all that shit ain't always good. Angie Charles says, I think Carissa Shields says should fight Blueface. Seriously, she says she should do that. Blueface would knock Carissa the fuck out. He'd knock her the fuck out. She a female. Ain't nothing she gonna do to that dude. Like, if Blueface is like one of them skinny, tiny ass dudes, maybe Carissa can do something to a skinny ass, tiny dude. But not nobody a Blueface size, and Blueface can fight. He'll beat her up. She a chick. They ain't like them chicks, even though some chicks show they can fight good. She ain't like chicks like Carissa who want to fight, be chicks who just be wanting to fuck. That's all that shit is. She can't, her sexual nature is just too fucking high, but she probably ain't. I don't know. I wonder if Carissa is a freak like that. And then Vlasica says Brownville, Texas says dope, says the dope little border town, says, but I get funky across the street, says, and Monte Rosa. And then Goyan DJ says shit, says all my grandparents said nigga, laugh out loud. Man, that's because your grandparents is ghetto ass people. Any older person use a nigga a lot, there was some ghetto ass people, probably had parties all the time and shit. Partied and smoke and sold pills and shit. And then, but for a lot of people, they didn't use that N word. And then Matthew says, I live walking distance from what is that, Matamoros. And he says, and then let me see. On the box, he said, Velocity says, you won't hear me disagree with that. He's talking Velocity says, I'm surprised Deuce ain't play game documentary. He says on West Coast Wednesday. Says that was a no skip album. No, we try to stay away from well-known albums and shit. And if Velocity says because that's the other thing with Deuce doing that. Like he does it because he lets it be known there's way more music than radio play shit. And if Velocity says our shit that's pushed by the labels, there's more music coming from California artists than there is radio or label push music and shit. And then it's wrong because all West Coast ain't just California, even though we play just California West Coast music and shit. I have played a Vegas artist and shit. And then Velocity says in like 09 says, what is that? Montemoro says Reynoso says was like Iraq in 03. And then Otto Boxer says you didn't like the computer Putin lyrics. Man, that shit with 50 Cent said that shit. Says straight hot fire trash. Hell nah. Remember, I remember when that motherfucker, the homie who put me on the on who came back from New York. This is the homie from New York who came back when we was all listening to Ether and shit. That's how I started listening to Nas and shit. But when I get out the army and shit, that nigga Cameron had Purple Haze. And that nigga ended up calling me like, yo, because he was in New York. He bragged, like, talk about how that nigga Cam had the streets on fire. Hold on, that Purple Haze had to be 03 or maybe 2002. I got out in 2002. That shit got to be 03. Hold on, let me see. Wait, Purple Haze, they're going to give me Jimi Hendrix shit. Hold on, let me go to Cam. Hold on, Cameron. Purple. 2004. So 2004. This nigga called me. Let me see. Let me make sure. December of 2004. Yeah, so and then the New York niggas be having a bootleg. So that nigga called was like, yo, this nigga Cam got the streets on fire, yo. He said that nigga, this Purple Haze shit. That nigga Cam got the streets on fire. Oh, I said, what? In my, because I'm listening to these shit, the niggas out in New York putting me on their music and shit. I'm putting them up on LA shit because I was like, bias was just corrupt. Corrupt was like the hardest nigga ever. That's how I first get introduced to Jay-Z. They was all Jay-Z was the hardest nigga rapping and this and that shit. I buy that Purple Haze shit. I listen to that shit. I'm trying to force myself to listen like, well, it gotta be something dope. I'm like, I know this thing ain't called me all the way from New York to tell me about this shit. Man, I tossed that fucking CD out the window. I wasted my money on that shit. That shit was some of the dumbest fucking lingo shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. And matter of fact, Cameron barely got by with doing that horse and carrot shit. That shit used to be a radio hit, but listen to the song, this shit was kind of stupid as fuck back then. Then they come out with this new style of shit. I mean, I didn't even give that shit away because I knew nobody in LA was gonna listen to that shit. I threw that motherfucker out my window. Where was I headed? I know I was driving somewhere. Was I going to work? Was I TSA then? No, I couldn't have been at TSA. I was heading somewhere because I remember when I threw that fucking CD out the window. I pulled that shit out and tossed that shit. I was like, man, I don't know what the fuck these niggas like about that shit. That shit was stupid as fuck. He said that nigga Ben fell asleep again. Says, oh, he did. Listen, every time I go to that nigga Ben's show, I catch that nigga shows and then I'll be hearing nothing. So guess what? That nigga is asleep. That nigga need to get off the more heavy ass drugs that nigga on. But like I said, that nigga be saying some way out shit on that motherfucker, man. I'll be dying laughing at that shit. Auto Boxer says, OJ the Juice Man, this nigga Ben is the funniest nigga. I'm glad that nigga start going live. That nigga is fucking ignorant as fuck. This nigga in there laughing. Velocica says, Slim says they won't play documentary one, says because it had too much commercial success. And then Matthew says here the border town in Mexico says are ruled by golf cartels. Says back in 2009, says that's when President Calderon says try to fight the cartel. Says it didn't work. Says it's calm. Says it's calm here right now. Says just keep it cool. Shit, it's calm now because they know that crazy nigga Trump is sending the U.S. Army in that motherfucker. And then like they show some shit. They show Trump had a he thought he was bombing a drug manufacturer in Ecuador. Kind of find out it was a farm or some shit. And then Matthew says don't look for trouble here. It says and you're good. So just like anywhere. It looks like anywhere else. Andrew says most of live rap shows I've been to says were garbage. Says Project Pack says put on one of the live rap performances I ever saw. He forgot the word best. And then Autoboxy says says I ain't gonna lie. It says that Gucci Man track says 100 House is fire. It says no lyrics, says but the beats is banging. That's the one thing that nigga Gucci Man did have is whoever was doing those beats. Because I hear people who have beat in their car play some Gucci Man shit versus like hearing it on something regular. Like, man, this nigga trash. But hearing somebody with beat was like, damn, this shit knocking like a motherfucker. Costa says, he says New York rappers was trying to find their place in the rap industry. He says Pink Timberland boots, shaking my head. Yeah, because New York rappers, once LA stole that shit, and kind of won that shit, that battle with the Death Row and all them shits. And then when Death Row died off, the South took that shit. The South took that shit. And that's what New York get for booing Outkast. When that nigga Andre 3000 said that shit, nigga, what he say? The South gonna rise because he's mad them niggas booing him and shit. That was the moment the pendulum started to swing in that motherfucker. Because once Atlanta, and it wasn't really just the South, was really when Atlanta start catching when that shit was over with for New York. LA was the doors were shut because of that gang banging bullshit. And the Velocity Cut says, he says facts. Says that shit was going on in Matarosa. Says it's fucking crazy. And the Matthew saying, yep. And then Andrew Charles says, I saw Lil Jon on his Crunk Juice tour. Says, and that was pretty nuts. And then Matthew says, but it's all good. Says just sometimes it pops off. On the box it says documentary was Game's first album, says 2005. Y'all said documentary number 4. And then Velocity Cut says isn't Matamoros where not word, but where them black folks says mistakenly got unalive a few years ago. Oh, I remember that shit. And then he says, Velocity Cut says, I've been crossing the border, says a lot to Matamoros, says since 2020, says to go meet girls, says, and it's not crazy, just sometimes. Says just keep a low profile. Yeah, you don't want too much attention because always some old jealous, suck ass motherfucker, especially if you're going somewhere for bitches. That's the one problem with dudes is that pussy ass hating shit. And then Andrew Charles says, I don't know how the gas flows, says, but we've always had pretty stable prices here, says where I live, says even when shit is popping off everywhere else. Probably y'all got a tiny ass population or some shit. Maybe y'all don't got a lot of cars up there. You are part like the South shit. Y'all probably don't own a lot of cars and shit. And then Matthew says yes, Velocity Cut says it was a case of mistaken identity. Says, but the Matamoros people think it was the black people's fault. Says for invasion of territory. Says, but it was that they thought they were Haitians. Yeah, that's when they shot that lady in there. Yeah, she getting her ass done. Took her dumb ass over there. And she lived too. Says they were just traveling for a BBL. Yeah, them dudes went out there with the chick for her to get her ass done. And then Picasso says how our gas going up, says when Texas alone says could replace foreign oil, says which is doing away with the tariffs, says Houseway. They just had a damn refinery or maybe a part of a refinery blow up out there in Texas. What was that in Texas? Was that in Brownsville or some shit? And then Goya DJ says was the Hoovers at Washington, says what y'all, says or they went to somewhere else. No, the Hoovers who went there, they probably had to be quiet on that shit. I don't think that was always a strange thing, is you didn't really hear about Hoovers at Washington. Or even if they speculate somebody was from Hoover, they be going over to the class and all that shit. I think some of the cats from Hoover just had to keep a low ass profile. And that's the other fucked up dynamic with LA shit. Is that gang shit. You can't go to certain schools. You got to keep a low profile. What school do you go to? Like that shit is cold blooded. And especially be from Hoover, they like one of the most hated gangs out there. And then Matthew says the Velocity Cut, and then the Hoovers directly on across from Washington, but I didn't see a lot of them there. He says Velocity Cut says the woman was just here for a cheap BBL, says, and Matamoros says cross with her friend, says one of them passed away, says they got rescued and stayed at a hospital here in Brownsville. Velocity Cut says, damn, Matthew says her female says be disappearing in Matamoros, says like they doing Juarez. That's because the most suck ass niggas never had pussy. And there'd be girls reject them all weird, probably high on cocaine and shit ass motherfuckers. Matthew says, but these racist Mexicans and Matamoros, I don't know how to say that name. Says think that they were drug dealing, invading the cartel's territory. Says, but that's BS. Yeah, shit, they hurried up and turned in and making somebody scapegoat for killing them and shit. And then Matthew says here on the border, says girls in Mexico, says tell me all the time that they're afraid of getting kidnapped and raped, especially in Reynosa. Yeah, that's because the Mexican dudes are suckers, homie. They don't know how to deal with bitches. They ain't got no game to them. That's why you see a vast difference in Mexicans who grew up around black folks versus Mexicans who either grow up around Mexican community or grow up in Mexican white areas. Those Mexicans be on that weird shit, don't know how to spit game to bitches, they awkward. The black Mexicans who grew up around black folks be more charismatic, they dress cooler, they got more game to them and shit. And then they ain't got to be on that weird shit. They can crack a chick through words and shit. And then Vasquez says, hey, cuz, says you call him, hell no, I ain't calling that shit. He says you call him Fedora versus Pee Wee Thurman. Says you heard Flu Blood crying. Says because PBC took his credentials for telling the truth. PBC, no, I may have to check this shit. I'll laugh at it if it's funny. But them niggas talk too much stupid shit about promotions, and these niggas don't do nothing for boxing. We all have developed channels off of what these promotions have done, mainly the PBC. Mainly everybody done grew themselves off of the PBC. Whether people like the PBC or not, everybody has caught fire through this YouTube shit with boxing because of the PBC. Simple as that. It is only applying for credentials to go to PBC events. Some people apply for top rank shit. Top rank shit be boring as fuck. And it showed in the videos they put up. And then Go Young DJ says, my grandparents says wasn't ghetto at all. Says you got a lot of prejudice. Man, I ain't prejudiced. I'm telling the truth, bro. You know they was acting ghetto and shit. They saying nigga shit. Velocity Cuss says Purple Haze was 04. And then CJ says Purple Haze is hard. Man, I don't know how y'all listen to that shit. But you come up in a mumble rap age, and Cameron and them started that shit. Cameron, and then we started that Dipset shit. And then Unboxing says, since Carissa has that, since I was ugly, says I was an ugly girl all my life, says, and now the money got me looking a little better, says Syndrome. Says, let her have her minute, says, finally looking good. But I ain't gonna say that she don't look that good, but she got problems with being, I can't stand black people with dark skin that think they're fucking ugly. And she got a problem with that shit to where she feels inferior to light-skinned girls. And then she wants to fight light-skinned dudes. Because everybody she calling out is a light-skinned dude. She has that colorism issue. And that probably stems from her fucking family. Because you had that shit within black families to where you have a lighter-skinned kid that gets treated better than what the majority of the family is, which is probably dark. And that goes to that slave mentality of black motherfuckers. So Carissa probably seen that shit. Was probably treated that way, and it directly affects her. Like she has never probably been called pretty in her day of her life. We shit on people, talk about them for the darker skin. We even talk about light skinned motherfuckers. We make even light skinned people feel fucked up. Like we just all around. That's an American thing. We just fucked up. I think it's a world thing. And then Velocity, they talking about Purple Haze classic, man. That shit, my Purple Haze album got thrown in the street on Western. I think I was on Western when I threw that shit out the car. Velocity sitting there rolling, and he says, and the Velocity says Heatmakers, and Kanye says we're in their prime. Yeah, and then Kanye was off the wall with his beat making and shit. That nigga just was a talented ass dude. CJ said that nigga Ben fell asleep again on live earlier. And that nigga be going live late too. And then I go over there, I don't be hearing that nigga say nothing. I be thinking he go live and go right to sleep. I know Boxer says, dude was like, yo, B, says, what it be, son? Says, yo, Cam, says the godson, says, word done. And then and Picasso says Cam went to Navarro College on a basketball scholarship outside of Dallas. Okay, good details there. Picasso, great reporting. And then Velocity cutting and rolling. Boxer says I tuned in to Ben's channel a few days ago. Says him and Dom says him and Doomed dude says on there talking about eating buttholes. Says I clicked off. Says I think I'm going to subscribe. That nigga ignorant, man. That's why when I went over there, that nigga had that chick over there. What's her name? Sabby. Soon as she get on there, that nigga talk about eating ass and shit. I was like, man, this nigga disgusting, man. Then he get to talking about Baltimore, how the mamas be fucking their sons and the fathers be fucking the daughters and shit. I was like, what kind of ignorant shit this nigga on? And then Matthew says, the refinery that blew up was up north, says probably near Houston. And he says, yeah, the Mexican girls prefer gringo American guys like me. Says they probably want papers. Laugh out loud. Says, but they'll date us, but they'll date American Mexicans, says over a Mexican dude from Mexico. That's because the Mexican dude from Mexico ain't got no damn money but a peso. And then Matthew says it's like a status thing, and they like American accents. And them bitches want American freedom. That's what that shit is. And then Vlasica says Mexican says sorry, not Mexican. I'm saying Mexican. Says motherfucker, we rolling, says with some light-skinned girls and some Kelly Rollins. Man, I'm rolling with the Snow Bunny. These motherfucking little black bitches kicking each other in the heads and shit too much for me. But let me go into this shit with the Trump supporting motherfucker I was talking to today. This fool, like I said, super Trump lover. Had the Trump hat. Don't see that motherfucker no more. Used to wear the Trump shirt. All that shit during the first Trump years. All up on Trump nuts. You know how grown-ass, old-ass motherfuckers was on Trump. Trump gonna do this and that. Then the pandemic hit. They ain't get nothing out of Trump. Trump gonna do this. Trump gonna drain the swamp. Trump gonna reveal this and that shit. Trump lose the election. This fool down there, then I thought this fool was gonna die. He was in such a depression over losing Trump. I was like, man, that's the most homosexual acting shit for you motherfuckers to lose their mind. That's what happened to Fred Coonthorne. Fred Hawthorne lost his mind over Trump losing the election too. There's a lot of motherfuckers that really show who they were following Trump's loss to Joe Biden. It revealed a lot about motherfuckers because motherfucking dudes went into fucking depression and went through psychosis over Trump losing the fucking election. Then when Trump gets back in there, all this silent celebrate. They weren't even as vocal and out there as much as they were. They kind of start to go into the bushes and hide like they've been doing. Remember, they're the silent majority and all that shit. So this dude was coming out back happy a little bit that Trump was in there. And they were looking for all this prosperity under Trump. Trump gonna bring gas down. Trump gonna bring food down. Trump gonna help us buy a house. Trump gonna make rents go down. Trump gonna make it affordable to buy a car. Trump gonna did I say gas? Trump gonna keep the gas. Trump gonna make the air clean again. Trump gonna end all the wars. Trump deserves the Nobel Peace. That's how the Nobel Peace Prize motherfuckers knew not to dare nominate his stupid ass for a Nobel Peace Prize. They knew that scumbag motherfucker was a nowhere closely worthy of even coming in the 90th place of a Nobel Peace Prize nomination. Tookie Williams deserved that shit more than Donald Trump. And thank God Trump never gets to say he was once nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize because he doesn't deserve an award for shit. And then now he fools all these people. Trump gonna have no new wars. Kamala was in there. We be in the war. We be at attack. But now here Trump has led us astray, has fucked off the economy. And now the Trump support I come across today is speaking about Israel and how he's a puppet for Israel. And he promised all this shit. And now we're out here fighting in Iran. And I'm happy to see Iran embarrassing. Like, what? You happy to see Trump being embarrassed by Iran? You no longer crying over Trump? You finally woke up that you've been played. Oh, yeah, let's go into this shit. I've been telling y'all about this politics. That's why I told him. I said, always right. With Reggie Owens, goddammit. Glad you in here to express this kind of shit. What else you want to say about it? Yeah, but then I had to tell him. This shit has always been the ill side of European history. Said this is a European thing. This shit would not have gone down if it were not for the behaviors of European nations who are known to have gone into nations to rob it of its resources, to capture its people, and to place them into slavery, and to work them and steal and kill them. This is the same thing going on with Israel. Israel should have never been a nation that was created. But once again, it was to protect a white society. The same thing that comes out of World War I about them creating a League of Nations to stop white nations from fucking fighting each other. Let's have talks. Let's not use these weapons to kill each other. We're going to use them on the black folks. We're no longer going to just chain them and put them in ships and use the whip. We now have bombs anytime they get out of line. We can use our bullets, but in the ill nature of a European, they don't even want, they'll break away from that shit. Any little agreements, treaties they have, they will rip that shit up and go right at each other. Versus these nations, they think they have to civilize. These nations are evil nations, and they ain't never threatened none of these motherfuckers, have never captured, owned, and worked these motherfuckers into death. This is what I'm telling this white dude. And he eating all that shit. Before America to end that war. So this is what the League of Nations is about stopping Europe from fighting with each other. We can go right into this black ass nation and go into other nations, Asian nations. We can divide these motherfucking nations. We don't got to fight it. I would not fight you, my porcelain brother. You can have this portion of Africa. We'll take this one and we'll take that one. We'll work peacefully. We'll tame these evil savages of wickedness in the land that we must take before them, because God has promised us, and you know, God talked to us. You niggas can't communicate with him yet. You're half an ape and all that other shit. And so these niggas can go in and split that shit. So after World War I, this is the rules for that shit of let's create this league so we ain't never got going at each other. We hate that happened. And then Hitler rise to power and say, fuck all that shit. Fuck what you niggas is talking. Nigga, I'm rearming. I'm taking back this shit. Because they just split Germany up, broke it down. Hitler said, fuck that. I'm going through all of this shit. And matter of fact, you niggas who came out the green, I'm going to go in y'all country. Coming to France and being burdened pretty soon. And that's when them niggas had to rise up on Germany, kick Hitler in the ass. Hitler fucked up fucking with them Russians. Now the Russians stayed out of that shit till Hitler come knocking on their door, and that's where they fucked up, not putting his ass in check from the get-go. Once violating what was put on paper for his whole ass, they wouldn't have had them problems. And now when they lose that war, here go America taking these people out who were being placed in camps, whose possessions were being stolen from them by Germans, and the German top officials gaining wealth up off of these people and playing the German people who they got to buy into these old racist ass ideology. And then is it really racist if you racist against your white and you're racist against other whites? I guess so. But genocidal, maniac ass society that Germany was. You take these people out here who are being persecuted, placed in camps, killed by the thousands, hundreds of thousands. They even claim millions. And then so you start removing them and place them into a darker people's land. And not only you just put them there as visitors, find them a safe place, you speak with the damn Palestinians, you lie to them, and not only you bringing the Jews in here, rescue them from concentration camps, all this other shit to keep peace in Germany. Russia said, no, fuck that. You motherfuckers gonna pay for this shit. And fuck what America want to do. America didn't want to act like this shit never happened. Let y'all return to just life. Russia said, fuck that. We're going to take our portion of Germany. We're going to keep the east of y'all peon ass French, Britain, and American motherfuckers can have y'all on side of it. Because America, Britain, France are the ones with that ill, fucked up ass history. Because I don't hear much about Russia being part of this divide of fucking Africa and all that other shit. You didn't really hear much about Russia dominating. I think Russia dominated whatever the tundra, whatever that shit they come from. But going into Africa and all having all that hill history, I don't hear that much with Russians and shit. You hear about these other nations who don't have any morals or ethics about shit. But now you take the Jews because you don't want to have to add protections because you have to put a foot up Germans' asses. You allow the Germans to act as if they didn't do all this atrocious shit. You allow the Jews to go in here into Palestine and take out what happened to them on these people. And then not only do they do that, they start expanding, killing these people, kicking them out, taking their homes, putting them out their homes, forcing them over into other countries. And you sit there to eradicate them in the same manner of what happened here in America. Of America coming right into America, or Britain coming to this motherfucker, other European nations, slaughtering these people who welcome them here. You're militarizing yourself, and now you're killing these people. And it's the same thing of what America has formulated with the help of Britain and France inside of Palestine, and allowing that shit. But not only America, they ain't going, so America and Britain don't have to support them with protections in case the Palestinians want to rise up against them. America goes into this development of weapons and giving it to these motherfuckers. Not only does America have to give, America can manufacture for these motherfuckers because they have the scientific expertise. Because a lot of these Jewish motherfuckers were actual scientists and probably weapon makers in German programs before Hitler flipped on them. And then now you create a military for these motherfuckers, advanced state military. Palestinians ain't got shit. That's like when I was coming up and seeing Yasser Arafat in them group in the 80s and 90s having to throw rocks at tanks and shit. Just how desperate it was. It wasn't no threat to no fucking Israelis and shit. And they're thinking the rest of the Muslim world is just supposed to sit there and take that shit. And here they go fucking with Iran. And Iran not putting up with none of that shit. And the same, like I say, this is everything talking about with the white dude. Now the white dude even looking at this shit and seeing what Israel is all about. And the fact that what Trump is all about. And how fake Trump is. And telling this dude how fake Trump is. Trump and them fucking doing all this shit to fucking sidetrack away from that Epstein file, which that file needs to be open, and every old piece of shit motherfucker in there needs to be thrown away in jail because their fucking prison system should be filled with motherfuckers like that. Our prison system should be filled, and just what Jay-Z says in the interview. He ain't one of these people who had found all type of loopholes into the rules and shit to hide money and corrupt the system and finding ways of doing wrong to other people and stealing from them to gain personal wealth. But these motherfuckers are allowed to do it. And that's the issue in America. None of these politicians you vote in have a solution for shit. These politicians are complicit in shit, corrupt wealthy people, put them in the trick bags, have dirt on them, control them and shit. So now this white dude get a black talking from me. And ain't nothing he can say. Like the open dialogue, this ain't no argument. Fucking this dude head up. And now you're gonna see a black perspective of what America and the world is about. And this is the only one that offers a real solution to all of the problems of this fucking world. European ways can't fix shit. The European ways have always been flawed. Whether the European is racist against them for its complexion being darker, these motherfuckers have issues with even white complexions because they have annihilated millions upon millions of white folks. This is why I love to see white people who love to walk around wearing Nazi shit and thinking that's supposed to be offensive to blacks. Last time I checked, Nazis killed the fuck out of people who look like them. And then the leader of that Nazi shit blew his own head off with his Epstein ass. That was the first Epstein, was Adolf fucking Hitler, who was a pedophile and an incestuous pedophilic motherfucker, fucking his own relatives and shit. And then let me see where we at. Let me get ready to end this one. And then in the Velocity Cut says the Bozo administration has been a complete atrocity. Absolutely. And watching his supporters flip on him is music to my motherfucking ears. I enjoyed the fuck out that conversation I had with that old white dude who went from crying about Trump to hearing me say offensive shit about Trump over all these years, to laughing at any time Trump had some disastrous shit, to really laughing when Trump almost got taken out by the greatest shit that ever hit him, and that being COVID. And then Matthew says, I was watching the live stream, says on Valhalla, says VFT, says former military bro, conservative audience, says he polled his audience, says who they voted for today, Obama or Trump. Says his audience voted 8% Obama. And you know what's funny? There's an election out there in the district where Mar-a-Lago is, and it's been flipped to a damn Democrat. So this Republican district is flipped on the motherfuckers. And then Matthew says this is how bad Trump is. Yeah, Trump is a disaster. Picasso says Fred showed his immaturity. Says when he said he brought a Rolls Royce, says to show Eddie Hearn. Says Eddie little boyed him. Says Eddie little boyed him. Says and sent him on a mission. Says now that I think about it, says it's his kids. So now that I think about it, his kids will see him getting slapped. No, not Eddie Hearn. That was Eddie Hearn. He brought a Rolls Royce copying. That was Kenny Porter you talking about. And he says on YouTube, that was Kenny Porter he was copying. And then Matthew says Russia and Germany had a treaty, but Hitler violated. Yeah, Hitler, what was that fool? Stalin wasn't gonna get involved in that shit. Like, long as you don't come over here, nigga, Hitler start bullying everybody. They go from a small ass military, no Air Force, no Navy, and just constructing this shit and just sweeping across the damn world. The same thing and it's gonna be the same disaster you see with Trump and Netanyahu. Trump, Hitler, Netanyahu, Mussolini. And them damn Israelis may get a hold of that motherfucker Netanyahu. And then Matthew says, it says African colonization says mostly England, Belgium, Germany says for some time says those countries, not Russia. Yeah, all of them. And then that's where I was like, where America was wrong in World War II. Russia's the only one who had that World War II shit right. And then we ready to go to fucking nuclear annihilation with these motherfuckers. That's why I was watching early this morning also with the kids was about the Cold War. We're watching that shit. And then but I always get my spin that you don't see in a lot of documentaries or what's taught to them, because I know they're gonna come across this type of history. And then Matthew says United States armed the Taliban in the 80s, says to fight Russia, then we fought the Taliban later on, says for them to now have our military weapons, clothes, and vehicles, says they're fighting Pakistan now. And then Velocity cuts, because I think when we went in there, I think the Russians were supplying them with weapons and shit. Or they may have weapons still over from when they fought the Russians. The Vice Cut says 93 of 100 senators and 361 of 435 House members have AIPAC money. Shaking my head, and that needs to be looked at. And all these motherfuckers need to be replaced, and they will be replaced by their Republican voters, because the Republican voters are tired of that fucking Israeli pact. They motherfuckers is mud now. Them damn Trump supporters can't stand that country. And this Trump-loving motherfucker I talked to today was saying he would love to see Iran destroy that country. I didn't heard many of these people say this shit. And then Matthew says, Velocica says, truth says, but all Republicans take AIPAC money. Says the only ones that don't are Democrats. And then Velocica says facts. So just like when the U.S. trained Mexican Marines, just for them to turn around years later, so they become Los Zetas. And then Matthew says facts is 100% at Velocity, because I was even telling that the white dude about how America has no morality to it, and he was talking about like how when you look and see all this homelessness and all that shit, and like I had to bring it because I know he's a Reagan lover. I said Reagan's another motherfucker who fucked this country up. And this is what I was saying earlier when talking about Kevin Childs, like this is the same nation that brings drugs in, and it's attempt to poison certain communities. And like I always try to poison the community I come from. Reagan and them being associated with that shit. And then the CIA, however you want to put it, Reagan and them being associated with that shit. And then anytime they're arresting these Nicaraguan South Americans who really ain't, they ain't at fault. American white folks put them up to this shit. And then help them buy to be able to afford to buy weapons off of the fucking market to fight against this bullshit fight that these white capitalist motherfuckers push against communism and shit. And then they wash their hands and act like they ain't part of that shit. Spread all this type of bullshit amongst ignorant societies of the world who ain't up on game of what they fucking doing to them. That same thing, the lesson Iran teaching these fucking other Arab nations about allowing these people to come out. But other Arab nations was using the white nations because they provide them with oil and they protect them against their other Arab brothers. Is the crazy part to this shit. But talking about the white dude about them bringing the drugs in here, and when you look at homelessness and seeing how all these motherfuckers, how drugs just fester throughout American society, and they talk about this bullshit war on drugs when these are the motherfuckers that have brought this shit here. Our own politicians who don't give two fucks about how this nation will eat you up and spit you out, while they sit here and capitalize on that shit. is the craziest shit, and why a nation full of white dudes have no solutions for how to pull America out of its shit. And that's what these white folks starting to realize in their bullshit and everything they've been taught to them by these old, hateful piece of shit motherfuckers. These dumb motherfuckers have to suffer to fucking wake up and learn the fucking lesson from it. But that's all I got, folks. I'm out this hole. Velocity says, remember when piece of shit Dick Cheney, company Halliburton, says was the only, says absolutely, says was the only one, says was the only one to contract with the war in Iraq. Yeah, that's all war is about. They create some bullshit, and the first thing going in is one of their companies. And that's what I'm saying. They have civilians in there, while the soldiers in there fighting these wars, not making any fucking life-changing money, not making any money to fucking secure their fucking financial future, to send enough money to be buying shit, that if they got out and they were able to go apply for one of these civilian contractor jobs, those civilian contractors starting out are probably, if that soldier got out, and that soldier's gonna be a sergeant or some shit, gets out, entry-level fucking contractor job, that motherfucker's probably making 10 times more than what he made as an active duty soldier. It's crazy as fuck. But that's all I got. Catch you on the next one, people. Peace the fuck out. We gone.